Kevin Nash last week. Now, we know that Kevin has been dealt, quite frankly, two horrible blows last year of Scott Hall, his best friend, dying, and then more recently his son passing away as well in his 20s. And on his podcast, Click This, he said, "Time flies when you've got a gun in your mouth. I mean, time flies when you're having fun." The co-host, Sean Oliver, prompted Nash not to play like that, and then Nash once again said, "I can do whatever I want as long as I leave a note." Now, for some people, this is gallows humour. Someone obviously didn't take it as gallows humour and was actually genuinely fearful for Kevin Nash and the state of mind he was in. What do you make of all this?
Well, I know his humor, and I would have to hear him say that. But if I had heard that on the podcast, that's Kevin being Kevin, period. I know him. But for some people, this may be the first time they've heard Kevin Nash speak in their life, or second time or third time, or he just may be new to them. They read something in it that he's contemplating suicide because of the words he used, and words have meaning. I got that. But did he really mean that? And I wonder, actually, it's a push, a strong for me to believe that somebody would call the police for them to do a wellness check on Kevin from my podcast. But actually, I thank them really, because they were listening and they didn't mean anything bad by it. They wanted to see if he needed help. And I applaud the person who did that. But so they went and checked on Kevin. And if the police had, or the wellness people, if they just stayed around long enough, Kevin would have invited them in and give them coffee or a Coke and give them a sandwich, and they'd have talked. And because he's a great talker, very intelligent man. But like you say, some of that, I know how to take his humor. Some people don't. And some people could have had, who knows what happened on the side of the people who called it in. They could have had something like that happen to their family or a friend. And then they're saying, why didn't we recognize that before? They may be feeling something from that. But no, he didn't mean that. He really didn't. That's the way he talks. And did they just hear him talk, or did they see him talk?
It could be one or the other, because he's got audio and video versions of it. I've actually got his response on Twitter. So there was a wellness check by Volusia County Sheriff's Office as they provided a wellness check on him. This is written up from Wrestling Inc. The 63-year-old clarified that he had no intentions of harming himself to the officers and later addressed the situation on Twitter. "Everyone take a breath," he wrote. "Let's not take my biggest coping mechanism, sarcasm, and blow it out of proportion. I appreciate the concern and the fact that others find it a perfect time for insults. Continue to get your updates on TMZ and wrestling sites. I've got legs to train today."
Well, his sarcasm is pretty dark sometimes. If I can remember some of the things he used to say, he'd say it. If he just said it to somebody that didn't know him, you'd look at him and say, what the hell? But if you knew him, that was him. That was Kevin. And very intelligent man. He used to tell me stories about when he played basketball in Germany. I said, "You speak German?" He said, "No." But he said every time somebody would speak German to him, it was like they cussing him out. He said that if they told you "Good morning, I love you," it sounded like "I hate you and I'm going to kill you at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, get back in the van.
But he said that, and he said it was very guttural, but he was hilarious because he's a funny guy. So, and I hope Kevin, I'm just not talking to hear myself talk here, but I don't think Kevin's any danger of taking himself out because, him and his wife were dealt a bad hand with, and Kevin was dealt a bad hand with Scott's death. And now the wife is in on it now too with the death of their son. that's a very, very hard thing to accept because it comes out of the blue. Then all of a sudden you're having to deal with it. So my condolences to Kevin and his wife. I met her one time, I think. Nice lady, because I know what kind of grief they're going through, and I hope he's okay.